Okay, good afternoon for some, morning for some. My name is Dr. Cherie Franklin, and I'm going to talk to you today about nutrition strategies for breast cancer prevention and survival. Am I good? Am I being seen? I think so. So, breast cancer is in and of itself a complex condition that's linked to a whole lot of genetic factors. But studies show that adequate nutrition and exercise in conjunction with actual prevention screenings can actually reduce the chance of its occurrence by as much as 30 to 40%. So I talked a little bit about the importance of exercise last time around. Now I'm going to talk about the actual value of nutrition, good nutrition, and dietary practices. So, first of all, I just want to add that just to kind of highlight the fact that breast cancers are actually estrogen-driven tumors. So estrogen is a hormone that circulates in large quantities in a woman's body. So basically the goal of anything to prevent or treat breast cancer is usually aimed at making sure that estrogen metabolism is adequate. So we all hear that vegetables, fruits and vegetables are good for breast cancer prevention, and this is true. But I just want to highlight some vegetables and as well as some other ingredients, some other foods that are not necessarily vegetables that are equally as effective or the most effective, among the most effective. The first one is broccoli. Broccoli contains a host of compounds that have been shown to actually reduce breast cancer prevention greatly. It's a type of cruciferous vegetable, it's a green leafy cruciferous vegetables, and these contain certain chemical compounds that are, interestingly enough, released when you chew them, and when consumed regularly, they can actually help in estrogen balance and just in preventing it. So moving on to another one, which you probably hear a lot about, carrots, and really not carrots, but it's really very orange vegetables, very rich vegetables, very red vegetables, very green vegetables, which is why broccoli is effective as well. These vegetables contain an antioxidant called beta carotene. And beta carotene, the way it's processed in the body, it converts to vitamin A. And vitamin A is a very potent antioxidant that fights free radical productions. And free radicals are basically chemicals that circulate in the body in quantities, in small quantities. They react to metabolism. Anything that goes on in the body is linked to free radical production. And one of the risks with cancer is when free radical production is excess and there are insufficient antioxidant capabilities to actually counter them. Antioxidants counter free radicals, and that's where foods like carrots come into play, and also root vegetables that are really strong in color, like I'm holding here an orange pepper and a red pepper. You usually know that product contains a lot of beta carotene by its very rich color, and that's how you know that's why vegetables and fruits are effective, mainly when they're rich in color. So I really want to emphasize that fact, because yes, all vegetables and fruits are good for you, but you definitely want to pay attention to those that are very rich in color, and again to those cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, as these have very potent effects when it comes to breast cancer prevention and survival. Joyce just asked me which of these are good for the eyes. Funny, interesting question. That is beta carotene. And so you get a lot of your carrots in, you get a lot of your reds in, a lot of your orange in, you're taking care of those eyes as well. That's a very, very good question. Green does have beta carotene in it, but a lot of it, but I don't want to necessarily say that it is the best. It is good, but the chemical composition of the orange vegetables, in addition to the beta carotene, the way the chemicals within those work, that makes it very good for eye health. Very good question. So I also want to highlight some things that while breast cancer is most common among women, there is something that really helps in the prevention of breast cancer that a lot of women shy away from, and that's fat. Healthy forms of fat that are very high in calories, honestly, are actually very good in the prevention and the survival from breast cancer. And one of the most commonly or repeatedly shown is olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. When you're looking at your extra virgin olive oil, you want to really make sure you're paying attention to olive oils that are in darker containers. Those tend to be some of the better and some of the most potent. And also walnuts, nuts in general, but some highlights here are like walnuts. They actually contain two types of fat, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated omega-3 fatty acids. They're one of the few nuts that actually contain both. Very good for the prevention and really good for estrogen balance, overall estrogen balance. Someone just asked me, should they be worrying about breast cancer in their early 30s? And the answer is yes. Any woman that's premenopausal is at risk of breast cancer. So this is something that you should pay attention to, honestly, from the time you start your menstrual cycle. It becomes that much more important. So also sticking with those fats, chia seeds and flax seeds are another good source of healthy fat. And I want to emphasize that a lot of this information, you can find additional information on NinaCheriePhD.com, which is my website. And you can also follow me on Twitter at NinaCheriePhD for more of this valuable information. Also, I just have a question about, I read this week new recommendations on mammograms, and what about the purple-like plant? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Actually, no, the purple-like eggplant. So I got a question related to inflammation. I'm not going to really address inflammation in this, but I will say that there is no really evident, no strong evidence against that purple eggplant and inflammation. There is not. Not sure where the source was, but I want you to pay attention to those when you're citing information. Another thing that's important when it comes to breast cancer prevention and survival is regular intake of what are called legumes. These are your beans, your believe it or not, peanuts are legumes, in addition to your beans, peas, and your I think I got everything I was going to say about that. So these are just two types. Notice I picked one that's extra green in color. These are split peas, and these are black beans. Again, very rich in color. Yeah, absolutely. Someone said they were actually diagnosed in the 20s. So yes, anytime. That's absolutely right. So let me just give you some tips to go with these vegetables, just to kind of for efficiency's sake. Vegetables and fruits, it's typically recommended that you consume anywhere between 3 to 5 servings of vegetables and fruits for overall good health. For breast cancer prevention and survival, I highly recommend that you up your intake to as much as 9 to 10 servings of vegetables and fruits a day. And I really want to emphasize when it comes to vegetable intake, because they're relatively low in calories and sugar, you really want to err on the side of 5 to 6 or more servings a day of vegetables. And then when it comes to the fats, limit your intake to about 2 to 3 servings per day. These fats not only help protect against breast cancer, and they're very great for the chemo prevention, meaning when you already have it, they're great for actually assisting with that, but they also, believe it or not, influence the way the antioxidants in your carrots and your broccoli and your very rich fruits, or rich color vegetables and fruits, they actually influence the way you metabolize those particular antioxidants. So in other words, you need fat to metabolize antioxidants. It's one of the interesting reasons why people, while it was, we add fat to salads, that helps us to absorb the antioxidants within those. It is NinaCheriePhD.com, Joyce. Nina, NinaCherie PhD.com is the website, and that's my Twitter handle as well, without the .com. And also, one thing that I want to add finally is, when it comes to your intake of legumes, you want to make sure you're consuming about 2 to 3 servings of those as well. Put those on the lines of the starch and the whole grains. One more thing that I didn't say here, that I didn't show here, is the importance of consuming fatty fish like salmon, tuna, trout, and you can even consume sardines for that. Those fish, those components of omega-3 that are in those sources of fish are very, very powerful at influencing estrogen metabolism in a very beneficial way. So again, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at NinaCheriePhD.com, or excuse me, at NinaCheriePhD Twitter handle, and also on my website at www.NinaCheriePhD.com, where you can also find my other social media outlets, Facebook, Google+. I post everywhere. So thank you so much for following me with these tips today. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks. All right.
You all done?
You